Hello everyone, I'm Tari. Today you will be working on a new project, which is a painting gallery. Now as you can see here, I've cleared out this entire area, and I've also been grinding for a lot of resources we'll need today. As you can see, I have everything in these chests. So yeah, that's what we're working on today. But what's with the tree farm, I hear you ask? It wasn't finished in the last video. Well, guess what? I finished it off camera. It only really needed some lighting and that was it, honestly, so I put a bunch of torches there and now it's basically done. Which means I can focus on other projects now, such as this painting gallery. Speaking of, this is an interesting build, mainly because it needed a lot of planning. I was designing it in Creative first to get a better idea of what I want it to look like. As I've mentioned in one of my other videos, I watch Monkster's Alpha series, and he has a gallery of his own. And he built it in such a way that you go through one exhibit after another, one by one, because that's how museums and galleries work in real life very often. They design the buildings in a way that makes people go through exhibits gradually, and he took that idea because it makes perfect sense. And you know what? I'm gonna shamelessly take that idea too with this build. I've honestly tried building painting galleries in Minecraft before, but it was always a challenge to decide how to fit all the paintings in the builds and make it make sense, and it was always very difficult to me. So with this approach, it makes designing the entire building for the gallery much easier. And this is where we get to the interesting part. I usually always build the exterior first and then figure out the interior. But since I need to first figure out the layout of every exhibit room, I decided to start building the interior first, and then work the exterior around it. That way I can ensure that no matter what the exterior looks like, the interior will make sense and all the paintings will fit perfectly in the building. I've honestly never done this before, so this is a very interesting experiment. This gallery will have 6 different rooms and will have like a C shape to it. I'm making the interior out of wood. Hell, this needs a lot of it. Although the exterior is gonna be completely out of stone, which is quite opposite to what we have on the inside. Yeah, with what I have in mind, the exterior is probably gonna lead you to believe one thing about how things are on the inside, and in reality is gonna be way different. Which wasn't really the intention, but it's kind of what happened when I was designing this build. Which I don't mind, I feel like it will create an interesting flair to it. You know, the contrast of the materials used. In this video though, we will only be working on the interior. The exterior is just a whole other can of worms, and you will learn more about that in the next video. But yeah, Jesus Christ, is that a lot of work. I don't know if you can see it so far into the video, but the ceilings have this arch shape to them, or maybe it's more like a dome. I don't really know how to best describe it, but basically the ceilings aren't flat here. There's a lot of arch shapes I use on the inside, so it only makes sense for the ceilings to also have this kind of curvature to them. You'll see it more properly once I give you a tour at the end of the video. You might have noticed by now that I'm doing a voiceover instead of my usual live commentary, and there's a reason for that. So a few days ago, I opened my laptop with an intention to hop on the SMP and record a video, and then I noticed my fans spinning at the speed of light, even though there were no processes going on. I even checked my task manager, there was nothing. Then I decided to check the settings, and it says installing Windows 11. What do you mean installing Windows 11? What the heck? I mean, it did ask me multiple times if I want to update, and I always said no, but this time there was no question or even a notification. They just forcefully updated my system. And so here I am with Windows 11 installed, finally getting on the SMP and recording this footage. And when I start editing it, I noticed that the audio quality is just the shittiest ever. So apparently after the Windows update, my mic settings were changed, and I didn't check it because I never knew it would happen. So now I have to do this voiceover just because of this stupid Windows, man. I swear to God I'm gonna switch to Linux one day. This is just getting way too terrible. Well, anyway, doing this voiceover actually gives me an opportunity to somewhat improve the quality of my commentary, since I don't have to focus on what I say and on the game at the same time, and I can also pay more attention to how I speak. Because I've noticed that when I speak normally, I kinda sound monotonous, boring. You know, it sounds like I don't have emotions or something. And I really don't like that. I feel like it makes whatever I say boring, and I kind of want to have an opposite effect, you know? I want to have more expression to my voice. And it's kind of what I'm trying to do here with this voiceover. I don't know if I'm doing a good job or not, though. I'm trying. But you know, at the same time, trying to sound more natural, I suppose, kind of makes me feel like I'm being pretentious or inauthentic. You know, kind of like I'm acting, which I suppose would be accurate, but at the same time, I'm not really being pretentious. It's kind of weird. I don't know, maybe I'm autistic. I'm not diagnosed, but I do have reasons to suspect I might be. But at the same time, I don't really want to justify my quirks with it, since, again, I'm not diagnosed. So it would feel kind of weird to bring up autism every time I'm being weird. I did try to get tested for it one time, though it wasn't very successful. Because you see, I live in Russia, and some things in Russia are still from the last century. And apparently autism doctors are too, because I can't find any other reasons for what I'm about to tell you right now. Basically, I went to my psychiatrist and asked if I could get tested for autism. Because, you know, having it be confirmed or denied would feel a bit relieving. Having or not having that label on me, you know. And she said that if I was autistic, I would have been diagnosed as a child, which is like, what the hell, woman? Do you not know autism is a spectrum and some people can be absolutely overlooked? Like, do I really need to tell you this? I, who's far from being a freaking doctor? It gets even worse than that. After that incident, I decided to look up how things are with autism over here. And I found out that it's considered a children's only disorder, apparently, and the diagnosis never gets past one's childhood stage. Like, even when autistic people grow up, the diagnosis gets either removed or changed. Guess to what they change it? To freaking schizophrenia of all things. Like, what? Apparently they believe autism doesn't happen to adults or something. And if it didn't get treated by the time you grow up, it magically becomes something else? Like, what the hell is that last century bullshit? This is what devastates me the most. Like, there is so many doctors overseas who have done so many researches and studies on the matter. There's so much information about autism now. Just take that knowledge and use it in your freaking work. What's the problem? No one is gatekeeping this knowledge. Why are you simply not using it? Why am I able to get so much more information on autism after doing the most basic research on the internet for like 30 minutes than local doctors possess here? Why is this even a thing? It shouldn't be like this, man. But apparently they don't really care, which is really sad and depressing. But yeah, going back to my speech struggles, even though it feels like I'm being pretentious when I try to sound more engaging, I do still think it's worth trying, because as much as I'd love to just be myself and not change anything, I do feel like I sound boring more often than not, and I would honestly like to change that. Doing voiceovers like this is a perfect opportunity for practice, since, as I said, I don't have to pay attention to the gameplay or anything else, and I can really focus on my speech. And I also feel like this way the quality of my commentary can probably improve, since I can just cut out all the ugly parts when I stutter, pronounce something incorrectly, or simply take long pauses to think of my next sentence. I can remove all the uhs and ums, those drive me crazy when I edit my videos. Which I think is a good thing that my commentary can be improved by all of that. But at the same time, I would love for my live commentary to also improve. I want to sound better in my daily speech, and I feel like it can't happen if I constantly rely on my ability to cut out all the ugly parts, restarting my sentences if I say something wrong and all that. So as much as it can be fun to experiment with how I sound doing voiceovers like this, I feel like I can't and honestly don't want to do this all the time. Because I want to let myself improve my live commentary, and I can only really do that by just practicing and doing more and more of it until I eventually get better. So if you have this question, no, I will not make voiceovers like this unless I have to, but I will still try and make effort to sound better when doing live commentary. Plus, I feel like cutting out all the ugly parts entirely might make me sound disingenuous, because normal people do stutter and say and I feel like with those I would feel more natural maybe. Even some big YouTubers can do that sometimes, and it's what adds authenticity to them. So I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. I just feel like with me personally, I do that way too often for anyone's liking, so I'll probably just stick to what I usually do. I'll cut out some of the parts I don't like, but then I will also leave some of them if they're not too bad. I feel like that can be a good compromise. Alright, well, I thought I had so many things to talk about today, and I was quite optimistic thinking that I could probably talk for the entire video. But I have a slight suspicion that what I currently have isn't gonna last for the whole video, and I'll have to figure something out again. Oh man, this is what I mean when I say I suck at talking. No matter how many topics I can think of, no matter how hard I prepare, no matter how many notes I write to myself, it's just never quite enough. How do people even do this? Can normal people just talk normally and it's just me? I know talking is a skill, but I feel like most people don't have as much of a problem with it. Hell, some people can even talk about everything and nothing and barely make any sense, but like, they still talk somehow and understand each other. That is just beyond my comprehension. Those individuals are aliens to me. I wish I could do that too, but oh well. I can only hope that what I have here is enough, and if it isn't, then maybe I will have some pauses between parts of my speech to maybe fit it more into the length of the video. We'll see what comes out of it, I suppose. Alright, now the interior is fully done. This is what it looks like from the outside. Don't look at it, it looks ugly. It's not meant to look good on the outside. It will change in the next video, I promise. Some people have already seen it, because it's been a while. I was sick and didn't have much energy and voice to do a lot of progress. So let me give you a little tour of the place. So I decided to use these invisible stairs here to kind of make like hanging signs like this. It looks kind of weird because it's like double sign. Yeah, but I think it's fine. So this first collection is 1x1 collection of the paintings, which is over here. Also, I decided to put trapdoors on top of the blocks here on the arches to mainly avoid mobs spawning, because I didn't want to overdo it with the lighting here. So, also, I already used this glowstone. Thank you, Stinger, again for the glowstone. Now it looks awesome. But let's move on to the 1x2 collection, which is these 5 paintings here, here and here. And we also have this kind of couch or a sofa where you can sit down and relax with some books. Then we have 2x1 collection, which is these 2 paintings over here. It's kind of like a corridor that leads to the next room, which is 2x2 collection. This is one of my favorite rooms, mainly because of these bookshelves over here. I feel like it looks kind of cool. I don't know, I like it. I kind of fucked up with this collection here because as you can see we have 4 paintings, but I completely forgot that there is actually 5 of them. So this room wasn't even designed to host 5 paintings of this scale. So if I wanted to put the 5th one somewhere, it will probably have to be here or here, but the problem is this space here is like 3 blocks wide and the painting is 2 blocks wide. So like it's not going to be centered and it's going to look very ugly. So yeah, this gallery we will probably have to miss 1 painting. I'm sorry, but also you can see, I know, that was another room. Okay, in one of the rooms there is no center, so the chandelier wasn't centered because there is no center. Anyway, we are going to the next room, which is 4x3 collection, which is these 2 paintings. And then we have this kind of walkway with some paintings. I'm gonna have a couple windows here, but I'm gonna do that later. Now we go to the last room, which is 4x4 and 4x2 collection. I decided to include the 4x2 painting because there's only 1 of them, this one, and I didn't really feel like devoting an entire room just for 1 painting. So it sits here with all these other paintings of the 4x4 scale. So yeah, I haven't really done the floor yet, but it will be done eventually. So yes, this is what we got so far. Pretty cool. But that is gonna be it for today, guys. I hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye bye!